Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. TruVideo is revolutionizing dealership communication by combining video, texting, and AI into one power platform. And Ted, we have an exciting conversation today.
Sarah, we're so honored to welcome Joe Shaker, who's here with us today from TruVideo. Joe, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Okay, happy to be here.
Joe, you are making incredible strides for retailers all over the nation. We hear everybody from techs to leaders talking about these video MPI inspections. I know TruVideo is a lot more than just that, but bring us up to speed. I know you're also a retail dealer as well, and congratulations on the success you're having.
Well, it's I always get afraid when people congratulate me on success. It's life is a journey here, and you have to just keep grinding and keep solving problems. And I think that's how I got involved in TruVideo at the beginning. Anyway, I would talk to my best customers, and they loved the dealership, bought a bunch of cars, and had a service advisor. They knew him by name. I was like, wow, this is going great. And then I asked that final question: did you ever have any doubts? And every one of these great customers was like, well, you're always going to have doubts, right? And I was like, man, I really don't know any great relationship where there's doubt. So that's where the whole TruVideo thing started, and tested it for a couple of years, as we've discussed before. Ted, you kind of know the history, and then it really took off, and it's a requirement at some OEMs. It's part of their bonus monies, and it's taken brands like Mazda into the top of service satisfaction. Mazda was 11, they went to 3 in 1 year. 8 steps, never been over the halfway mark. And then they went from 3 to 2, and they're always in the upper echelon, scoring incredibly high. And what I say about that is they didn't change the way they do business, really. They just changed the way they communicate. And that's really a big deal. And so there's so many facets to this thing that I've been very fortunate, and being a dealer, and having a dealer group, and being able to learn. And we're in multiple 20 groups, and the learnings we get from deploying stuff into some of these elite dealers really has helped us go fast really quick, and improve, and partner with the largest software businesses that are all partners of yours as well. We power Reynolds, Service Snap, we power CDK Service View, and we're deploying out it with Cox and X Time. So they're just wonderful companies, and we're spending a lot of time really just focused on communication and video and messaging, and all these different things that we think are going to make it great for connecting great businesses with their best customers.
Joe, I want to take a step back for a second, because the biggest thing that TruVideo is really bringing to the marketplace, that customers have been demanding for a long time, but now it's front and center in their experience. But transparency is so critical across every customer touch point. I'd love to get your perspective. How have you seen this evolution from service techs, recording these multi-point inspection videos, into that customer life cycle and that relationship with retention?
Well, I'll give you a couple of things. My joke that whenever I'm speaking, I always say, as a dealer, I went to so many marketing meetings, and the CMOs would get up and talk about transparency and trust. And I would be like, are you kidding me? Who doesn't know that? Tell me how to execute it. Tell me how to do it. You're just using words. I mean, those words have been used so flippantly over the years that I almost don't even take the word seriously anymore. So for us, theory without execution is hallucination, and we don't like to hallucinate. So I think with video, we were able to execute on transparency, and really at the core of everything any business does, trust is the real secret. It's the center of the universe, and transparency and communication is how you get to that center of the universe, like 90% of the time. So I realized early we needed to focus on that. And I also realized that all the software businesses that I use spend 98% of their development time on workflow, making sure that we have our stuff together. Like, we're writing the RO, it's going to accounting, we're showing ASI, like it's really doing great stuff. But the last 2% they would spend on communication. And, I think I might have told you guys this before, but 98% of customer experience is how well or how poorly you communicate, and or probably 90% of revenue. And we're spending 2% of our development from my customers I use on the communication piece. So the joke that I tell the dealers all the time is I tell them I'm a slow learner, and I realize I never had a customer ever run up to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Shaker, I had a great experience at your dealership. What great workflows that you have." So it's that's been the key learning there, and that's why the partnerships have worked out great, because we're not only focusing on video and messaging and all the things that are happening in those areas and AI, but we're also focusing on, they're able to really focus on getting their workflows really dialed in. So together we can provide the best experience for the dealer, and we can provide the best experience for the end customer, which is the most important thing.
Joe, we talked a little bit in the green room with Sarah before we got started, and we've heard for some dealers who are now starting to get really good with these inspections. They're talking about things that I know you are working on, such as noise in the background, noise cancellation, if you will, analyzing the sentiment. Speak to us maybe a little bit about that, because I think that's all part of that TruVideo story that you bring to the table.
Well, it's kind of like I was playing poker, and every time the river comes out, a card flips over, and you're like, "Oh my God, you learned something else." So I'll give you the noise cancellation piece first.
Okay.
Um, so we start getting feedback in the text messages as to what people are saying and what's going on, and you start seeing on the manufacturer surveys, especially with the leaders. Hey, I couldn't hear this, I couldn't hear that. So we had tried standard noise cancellation for years, and it really never worked. And when you look at a phone, the reason why people use us is because it's not just video technology. People forget in the video there's narrative, right? They're like, the video you could see, but listen, you're listening to someone talk to you, and that narrative is incredibly valuable. No one wants to read a paragraph. They want to hear it. So what we did was we decided that, a phone has multiple, people don't know this, but a phone has multiple microphones on it, and it does what's called beam forming in order to. So I'm showing you the car, but my voice is coming from the other side. Whereas when I'm FaceTiming with my daughters, who
Yes.
tend to, always call me on FaceTime for some reason, I'm looking at the front of the phone and then talk to them. So we were able to analyze, understand not just the video technology in the mobile device, but the beam forming on the microphones, which really gave us really good quality. And then we used AI to train to the voice and then delete the sounds around it. So you will see videos where we have someone banging on a rotor right next door, and then someone doing a thing, and then we show it after it's been through noise cancellation, and it is obscene how unbelievable it works. It's literally deleting the sounds around the voice that it just trained to. So there's no background noise. You can't even hear the person banging the rotor. So that's one thing that was been incredible. We spent a lot of time on that. In addition to that, second thing you asked about was sentiment. So let me give you my opinion on sentiment. Today we use surveys. When I get it graded on my customers, the OEM goes out and does surveys, despite the fact that they have 4 inherent flaws. They're 4 days too late. The customer already told everybody I stink at work, and they wrote a bad review. Only 10% get filled in. They're highly, highly manipulated. What score do you want? We'll get it for you. You talk to people at businesses and they go, if I don't get a 10, my kids aren't going to go to Disney. And then there's a survey bias. So there's those 4 huge flaws, right? But we spend billions of dollars reacting to what people say or how they fill those surveys out. Well, what if I could tell you how the customer feels like right now? Like, what if you sent me a text and it said, "Joe, I'm incredibly disappointed with what happened today. I can't begin to tell you how upset I am." I could get that text, and I could immediately identify that that's very negative, and I could text the manager right at his cell phone so he can get on it immediately and address it. So what is that like in the real world? I always like to take people to the real world. That's just as if I was standing at the service counter and I saw your tone of voice was a little high or your body language was off. I would run right up to you and I would say, "Hey, Ted, listen, you're a great customer. We're a great business. What do we got? Let's take care of this right now. And then you would be like, you know what? Generally, those are the people that end up being your most loyal customers because you sort of proved yourself that your intentions are always good. But we don't have as many, there's no scale to that because I can't sit at the desk and stare at people's reactions, right? But when you're able to do that with thousands of texts a month, and I believe it's not just the negative you should track the very positive, and then that should get sent to all your employees because positive reinforcement is an incredible way to drive behavior and applaud people for doing things well. And in car dealerships today, and all my friends that are dealers out there listening are going to get this. It's like, if we have one problem, it seems like it gets like a 50x magnifier on it. And we talk about that crazy customer for like months. But when we do great things every day, we never 50x it. It's like, why don't we talk about things that have gone well? So those are the things as a dealer that I've seen, knowing the employees that we have and technicians and how fickle they could be. These are the ways we use sentiment today in real time to drive behaviors and to solve problems before customers write a review. Before, we want to solve problems immediately. We just never had a mechanism for it. So that's how I would talk about how sentiment is really can change the way we do business.
Joe, I also want to touch on, because Ted and I have heard this, throughout the industry as well. And the dealerships that are embracing video as part of their multi-point inspection, they're seeing a lot of success, as you mentioned, with that customer engagement and those different customer touch points, and continuing to build those relationships and have that retention. But we also are seeing that sometimes technicians are slow to adopt this process, and not every dealership may have the same urgency as it pertains to how they're teaching this or going through the process. So what are you seeing as some great strategies that really help, the technician embrace doing all the right things on every repair order every time?
Excellent question. Right now, really, we did 24 million media files last month. So
Last
there's a
month.
lot. Yes.
Wow.
So, and I think that was like, it might've been 5 or 6 million individual customer experiences. It's not like somebody clicked on a website 100 times, that type of data, so in that engagement data, you just mentioned something, Sarah, that's very important. That's something that we figured out early and we introduced to the market and the OEMs, because the OEM programs have data sharing, and the data sets they collect were built around what we told them. So we saw that, and this is important. This is one of the things we tell the technicians. We saw that 34% of the videos were being shared. And you know what I realized as a dealer that day? Now, this is when we started following the data. Now, previous to that, I'm a dealer, and all I would be website, time on site, bounce rate, all these different things for an IP address. Now I was getting engagement data on people I knew, people that were doing business in and around the transaction, not upper funnel. And I was like, oh my God, well, the first one we got was sharing. And I realized when 34% of the videos were shared that I wasn't actually talking to the decision maker 34% of the time, or I wasn't talking the co-decision maker. So here we are telling our advisors to sell, and it's not the buyer they're talking to. So that was pretty crazy. And this is what we tell the techs, because you said, how do you motivate techs to do it? We just tell them stories about how the advisors can actually mess up the situation, right? So we saw that technicians were making 5 recommendations, and they were being watered down by the advisor to 3 before they even talked to the customer. And we were like, whoa. Now, you always see technicians today, they go up to the desk and they'll see one of the advisors they don't like, and they'll turn around immediately. And they'll be like, oh, I forgot, I got to go grab something. And then when that advisor gets on the phone, they'll walk up to the one that they think sells better, right? So when we tell technicians this story, it's like a phone game. So 5 goes to 3. Why did you water those down? 2 reasons. One, I was thinking with my wallet, not the customers. And number 2, which is the one that I kind of knew, but I should have known, they thought the tech was overselling, right? So we were trying to solve trust with video with customers.
Yeah.
And here there was a trust internally in the dealership problem that we started to solve. Either way, the 5 would go to 3. They'd verbally call the customer, say something to the customer, or even tell them in the waiting lounge. The customer would not remember half the things that you said because it's too complicated. They'd call a significant other, confidant, brother, sister, father, mother, whatever, and they would go, "It's the tow rod and the the TZB boot in the and it would be like it might as well have been Swahili, right?" So realistically, when we saw what happened with the video was being shared. Everyone saw the same transparent message from the doctor, not the receptionist,
Right. Right.
100% of the time. And dealers were telling me, I think that you fixing the communication chain is the reason our sales went up. And it's really not even the video's a portion of it, but not the biggest part. And I was like, whoa, that's something I didn't know when we started. But that's one of the things we tell technicians. The second thing that we tell technicians is that, customers want to have the old experience of my mechanic, and they want to have a relationship and understand. Customers don't like healthcare where they have to talk to this in between person and they don't even get to the doctor. We talk about the gains that they'll make. And then management has to decide, do I have the ability and the control over my teams to manage this process as a requirement? Some managers don't have that control over the technicians, and they'll force the initial behaviors with a short-term bonus program where they bonus the employees. We had one dealer in Orlando, Florida, was about $90 a repair order in labor like 4 years ago. And it's a Japanese import brand that does a lot of customer pay, right? So you generally see differences. It's not like it's Volkswagen. You don't have the same customer pay as you have as a Toyota store. Well, this manager told everybody, I'm paying you $5 a video. And his labor went from 90 to 165 in under 2 months. And he had 90% video taking. Mm-hmm. So you can incentivize it. And I don't know if he took it off or if he kept it on, but what a return on investment that was. And it's just more money the techs are making, which may be helping with his tech retention, where he's not just paying flat rate or hourly. Sure. He's paying them an incentive where he's actually getting something back immediately for it. So after they see everybody walking back with more stuff from the parts department, it becomes a behavior and you're off to the races. And right now, if you're getting on now, can you imagine me 8 years ago trying to explain to people video, So right now it's table stakes. It's if you're not doing it, you're not really competing in the car business. And I'm going to make this one last comment.
Okay.
I was very lucky. Video has turned into not a customer behavior, but a human behavior.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Last month, 916 billion videos were viewed in the United States on YouTube alone. People speak video. And this is where you go into the marketing punchlines again, meet customers where they are. Let me call them on the phone. Who wants to take a phone call? Right? Asynchronous is where it's at. Video is the best way to communicate. If you're not speaking video, then you're not meeting customers where they are. That'd be like only speaking German in a Boston car dealership. Like it doesn't make sense. So forget about all the stuff I'm talking about with service and video and all this stuff. It has become a language of customers. Yes. And if you're not doing it, you're not speaking their language, frankly.
Joe, I just had a group of fixed ops directors, really good ones from around the country, who've been doing the video MPIs for some time. And they talked about, one of the things they talked about was the watch rate, the percentage of customers that they track that every day they're looking at, what's the number? Was it 90%? One said, wait a second, our share rate, we're at 120% because in one of our dealerships, our videos are being shared by customers with their friends and family. Look at the video. Look what my tech did. And I mean, what conversations have come out of this? Just like you said, the video is a fabric of our lives today.
Oh, forget it. I mean, if I keep reading stats to you on it, I gave you just the YouTube. I mean, can you imagine adding TikTok and in reels and all sorts of other stuff in there? It's 7 point something hours or some crazy amount of time that when you're looking at a screen or looking at your screen, it's a way of life. And, and everybody's talking about picking up the phones and doing all these different things. And they're just not paying attention to customer behavior. And I'm saying, look, I'm paying attention to it because I'm involved in tech and I'm a dealer, but it's crept up on us to be the way in which customers want to communicate. Yeah. So even if you thought transparency and trust was bull or whatever, you need to communicate to customers in the way in which they're bringing in information in their brains, and it's definitely video right now.
Joe, we meet with techs all the time, and it seems the TruVideo product, that's the one they like. That's the one they ask for the most. They like that TruVideo product, ease of use. We're hearing that all the time, hands down. TruVideo is the one.
Well, we appreciate it. I don't like to sit here and go, "Oh yeah, we're so great." I think we're in touch with the market, with the dealers, and you got to remember that's all we focus on. So your other partners that use us as well, they're using us because they're like, look, this is all they focus on. And,
Yeah.
we walk into OEMs and the OEMs are going to us going, thanks guys. Thanks for all the info. We're giving them all the newest stuff. We're showing them all the new tech that's going to come out in the next years for technicians and for sales and CRMs. And we're showing them all the partnerships we're making with other massive technology companies.
Yes.
And that I'll share with you another time or whatever. But the, and we're saying, and all of our partners have access to this as well. And so we're allowing dealers to stay within that one screen that they want to stay in through our partners. And then a lot of dealers use us that don't buy these full SLTs and don't go for the full solutions. They're using TruVideo. So it's like, we're very lucky that this is all we focus on, right? It's not fair for us to say, we're great because we're great. We're not. We're great because we're focusing just on dealers and transportation and trucking. We're big in trucking, and we're with Carmack. Carmack is our partner in trucking.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, they're big DMS. CDK is big in trucking. We're partnered with CDK, so that so we're in all these different markets, and everybody has the same communication issues. So it's thank you for the kind words, and we know that we stay close. We do believe that, but we believe it's, as I always tell people, I want to die a car dealer. In order for me to die a car dealer, we need to make sure we fix the business, and that's just not at TruVideo locations. It has to be everywhere.
Joe, dealers now are making their plans for 2026. We're squarely in the fourth quarter. They're looking out over the new year. I know video is going to be a big part of that if it's not already. This has become so mainstream now. If dealers want to reach out and maybe have questions, as you mentioned, a lot of the products from a lot of the partners now are the TruVideo product. But if they want to reach out with maybe more questions, how this applies to their particular needs, what do you recommend? What's the best way to ask questions about that TruVideo product and get more information on that?
Well, just my email. I think you have it there, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I love talking to other dealers, and I love helping out. So if they reach out to me, I can answer it myself or point them in the right direction. I think if I was planning for the new year, this is a time that we do our operating budgets in October and February, and business has been choppy in the last couple months. And I've been to a couple 20 groups, and dealers are a little nervous. I just noticed on one of the reports, the Hague report came out on dealers' attitudes towards is next year going to be less profitable. And I think it was like 58% said it's going to be. So the reality is my team's budget, my service directors will come in, and then they're going to say, we're going to do this much extra in service. And I'm going to say, well, how are you going to do that without, you can't lick your finger and see which way the wind's blowing. So, generally it starts with the video. If you haven't been doing it, congratulations, because now you're going to do it. And then you do it, you're going to get $50, $60 in labor per repair order times your 1,000 repair orders a month. And then there's your plan. And that doesn't count parts. If you are doing it, the next step is going to be quality. We've built out video quality score using machine learning. We're with many of the largest dealer groups in the country doing it. And so there's another $59 to $60 based on our analysis when you follow the correct cadence and you do a quality video. So that's the next step. If you're the dealer who's starting, you got to get started and you got to do 70-80% of your customer facing repair orders. That's warranty and customer pay. And if you're a dealer that's rocking and rolling, you've got to get your vehicle quality and process down. And when you do that, that's going to give you your second lift. So those are the adjustments I'd be making for my parts and service departments, so that you can count on that rhythm, because service is the tortoise. Service and parts is the tortoise, and sales is the hare in the old story. That's why people buy dealerships. I buy dealerships knowing what I can do in sales. But the thing I'm actually buying is the fixed ops gross and the fixed ops sales. That's what you're buying when you buy a dealership. That's why you're paying Blue Sky, because starting fixed ops with zero, that's called an open point, and you end up losing enough money to wish you actually bought the point in the first place in most cases. So yeah, that's my advice for the next year. For people that are doing well, go to quality. For people that are not started, you have to get started. It's easy money, and it's the ROI on it's like 30, 40x. It's like if you're not doing it, you really have to think through your model.
Joe, Sarah, and I look forward to having you back, learning more about these best practices, all the things you're doing there with retailers. You're a retailer yourself. So, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable community, I also want to wish you and your family and the TruVideo family a very happy Thanksgiving at the end of next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, and happy Thanksgiving.
Joe Shaker, everybody. TruVideo. You can visit them on the web. You see Joe's email, even scrolling at the bottom of the screen, truevideo.com. Joe Shaker here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.